When you bumped into him in the hotel lobby, it was on your channel. Everybody's picked up on it now. Very cordial, handshakes. You know, everybody was very well behaved. In the aftermath now, Izzy's team have come out and said Israel made that happen. He wanted to see Paulo. He wanted to look Paulo in the eyes. He wanted to get a read on you. What did you take from that meeting?
You know, every single time that I saw Israel talk about me, he was very disrespectful. But live, when I met him, he was very gentleman, very kind. So I was expect for a different guy, but he was very, oh, how are you? He asked me, how are you? You look good, you look great, I like you. And say, what do you like? You know, I was more on defensive. But when I saw him so kind, I say, okay, it's okay. This all that he said is just fake, or he's fake now, but doesn't matter.
Yeah. The fight itself, a lot of people are saying that you're very dangerous 2-3 rounds because we've never seen you in rounds 4 and 5, and that you have 3 rounds to knock out Israel. Otherwise, you cannot win on points. How does that make you feel?
No, this sounds thoughts from the people who don't know me. You know, the people, yes, but it's normal because the only people knows how many rounds I can do on high performance and be dangerous and all those rounds is my team, my coach, the guys who train with me, you know, for a long time, and the guys who watched my sparrings, my real sparring. So it's normal, but the people maybe will keep this thought about me because I think this fight will be not for the 4 or 5 rounds. You know, I will finish this fight before, so that's okay. Until I have opportunity to fight for 5 rounds, the people will change this mode of, you know, this kind of thoughts.
Really, every fight that you're involved in is a big fight now, right? I mean, but this one does feel kind of special as well. Does it feel special to you? Does it feel like a big moment for you?
To be honest, not really. I know it's a big fight. I know it's gonna do well, but nah, it doesn't really feel. I don't know if it's because there's no fanfare or whatnot, but and less media, thank God. But yeah, I feel like it's just another fight, just another day in the office.
Is that okay? I mean, like, you've thrived under the spotlight since you came to the UFC, right? So knowing that this is more low-key, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, obviously, you like to know not as much media, but I would imagine, you know, kind of that little adrenaline rush is nice as well.
Nah, I can always summon the adrenaline when I need to, but I feel like, nah, it's not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. And I've even, like Brad reminded us that, yeah, we've done this before. We fought in China a few times in a TV station, and it's probably like 30 people in the crowd or working, or yeah, and it's just for China TV, so they have like a little stand with like a standing crowd, and they just zoom in on them individually. So yeah, I've done this before, and it just didn't feel any different.
Despite the setup, undefeated champion, undefeated challenger. I mean, I know you know the history of the sport, man. You study. I mean, is this potentially the greatest middleweight title fight of all time when you talk about the 2 athletes that are stepping in there?
Nope, I don't think so. Just his resume doesn't hold up enough. If you look at the guys he's beat, it's, you know, he beat over the hill Johnny Hendricks, no offense, a former welterweight champion that is. He beat, you know, Uriah Hall, who was actually doing quite well in that fight, one of his better performances, but then Uriah Hall just succumbed to his will because Uriah Hall sometimes breaks mentally. And he beat Romero, who's on his way out anyway, and he's a tough guy. Everyone kept on saying the scariest guy in the division, so that's why I called him out. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be the greatest middleweight fight in history. I kind of already did that with Kelvin Gastelum, so I have that in my back resume.
I like that. I got to ask about the exchange that you guys had that we all saw on tape. I mean, I saw a lot of people that are disappointed. They were like, I thought these were bitter rivals and they hated each other.
Well, what happened was I walked past him. If you see it in my story, I checked him and he said, what did he say? He said, you good? I was like, I'm great. And then Waleed or him muffled something and I doubled back. And I went over there to kind of just check his energy. And I went there, sized him up, patted him on the shoulder to feel how dense he is. I shook his hand because I wanted to feel the kind of pressure he put on from a guy who said I would not shake his hand when I beat him, da 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 da. So because he's just like one of those dogs that just barks behind the fence, but when the fence opens up, he comes around and just like real timid. So I could feel that off him, and it's the energy. So I went to check his energy, and I even said, you look skinny. I expected him to take that the wrong way, but yeah, he and Waleed were just giggling like little girls. So I already knew what I already knew. I just confirmed it. I knew that they were gonna submit to me. So yeah, he didn't check out when I checked him.
But we were talking about Khamzat Chimaev, who loves to strike, right? I mean, the grappling credentials obviously never lost a minute or whatever on the wrestling mats, but he likes to strike and certainly has a pretty potent right hand. I mean, what do you think they're going to do with him? I mean, he looks ready for top 5 competition to me. I mean, some think that's a stretch. If not top 5, he's certainly going to get somebody in that top 10 or 12, maybe Maya. What do you think about the immediate future for Chimaev?
You know, I'm always of the side of caution or just kind of slowing your roll a little bit. Even though Chimaev is showing some high-level skills, you still need that experience. And I think having that experience is what's going to allow you to really not only get the belt, but hold on to that belt for a long time. I'm not saying he can't do it already. It's possible that he is just that damn good. But from what we've seen, he's got the skills. There's no doubt about it. He has the mindset. What he doesn't have is the experience. So I think, you know, taking the right fights, building up his resume a little bit, getting that octagon time, because right now he's winning, but he's not getting octagon time because he's just smoking everybody. So yeah, I do think that he could start to fight against the guys who are in the top 15, no doubt about it, maybe even the top 10. And I start salivating when I think about him against a Kamaru Usman. And what gets me even more excited is him against Israel Adesanya. You talk about matchups, dude. I mean, how do you not give him a chance based on his wrestling skill and his ability to be able to deal with the striking? So there's just a lot of upside on him. I'm really curious to see what the UFC does.
And dude, if you want me to slow my roll on Khamzat Chimaev, I will. What he does have now is the 3rd fastest knockout in UFC middleweight history. But I look at like Reza Madadi, right? UFC veteran, and Alexander Gustafsson. His coaches and teammates on social media are responding to these performances like, dude, you're not human. Like, holy shit, we got a UFC champion on our hands. Like, I think they knew early on. We told the story on last week's show about how he went to Stockholm, Sweden, and took himself to All-Stars, and the rest is history. But I think they know they have somebody very special. And yeah, there are a lot of guys in that middleweight top 5 who are like, yeah, come get some. But I just think it's a fascinating story right now.
I'm watching, because I was watching the UFC, which was a great show and everything, and they bring Megan O'Leary comes out and talks about, Khamzat Chimaev, and if he gets this will be his 3rd fight if he gets a win, the fastest 3 wins in UFC history. And so I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Fastest 3 wins. And now people are saying, well, she was talking about modern era. And so, because I had tweeted out, look, sorry. And I wasn't I was not trying to be an asshole. I'm saying, hey, sorry at UFC and Megan Levy, but, that's not the fastest 3 wins. That's 66 days. There were guys, and I said, Royce Gracie being the first, UFC 1, UFC 2, he did 4 fights in a night. And why are you coming up with fake stats to promote a guy who doesn't need them? The kid is phenomenal. Yeah. Why? You don't need fake stats. It doesn't do anything. It's like, sometimes we get stats, from Bellator, and it says, we'll be tied for the 5th most. Who gives a shit? Yeah. 5th most. You're either number 1 or you're not. Yeah. Okay. And so
if you're not first, you're last, buddy.
And I look at it, and I did not say it to be mean to anyone. I was trying to say it in a nice way, and then I had so many people came back, agreeing. And then I would get the couple, that would come back, you just say that because you hate the UFC. People, so I'm telling you right now, I don't hate the UFC. I happen to watch every one of them, and I love the UFC. I just am the person that knows that sometimes people involved with the UFC try to rewrite history. And I am the proverbial fucking pain in the ass that knows the history and will always call you on it because it's wrong to try to take people out of the history of the sport. Those guys did something. You want to talk about the guys in the past not being as good as the guys of today? I agree with you. You'd be right. But when you sit there and you tell me that a sport that has been around for 27 years now has a modern era, there's no you have athletes that have careers for 27 years. Okay, not a lot, but there are some. So I guess they were in two different eras. Give me a fucking break, dude. There's no difference. What was done in the past? Guys like fucking Royce Gracie fought more than one fight in a night, 3 fights in a night. Randy Couture, 2 fights in a night. Marco Huas, 3 fights in a night. Mark Coleman, 3 fights in a night. Dan Severn, 3 fights in a night. Those things all happened. They got 3 wins in one night. So to sit there and say that, oh, no, that's different. I had people say, well, that's because, you know, they have the difference because Royce was wearing a gi. Well, Mark Coleman wasn't wearing a gi and Dan Severn wasn't wearing a gi. And come on, man. This is a matter of there's ways to promote this kid, and it's all about his fighting. And the fact that he does fight a lot is something that you bring up. No doubt about it. And then the fact that he wants to fight. Okay, awesome.